This is the formidable TeamSport Trafford Park in Manchester. I've never driven on this track before and I'm about to throw myself into the deep end, racing against some of their most experienced members. Today's all about testing my skills, learning the track on the fly and seeing if I've got what it takes to keep up. It'll be intense, painful and maybe a little bit chaotic, but that's what racing's all about. So strap yourself in and get ready. This is going to be a wild ride. Right, let's just jump into this thing, shall we? Today's format is a 15-minute practice, 20-minute qualifying and a 30-minute race. On my first lap of this new track, trying to figure out where I'm going, I was actually caught out by TeamSport Trafford Park's yellow light system. It's really hard to see. And clearly the drivers behind us had all spotted the yellow lights going out quicker than we had, and so we just got absolutely swamped, so I just pulled over to the side there. This is what the track looks like. Turn right immediately as you go over the start-finish line. Now you've got a double apex right-hander under this bridge, which is tighter than it looks. There's a left hairpin here. You stay over to the left side of the track so that you can open up the track for this long right-hand corner. Then you've got a left hairpin followed by another left turn. Take that as one corner, to be honest. Another left hairpin here followed by a little kink right and maximize your exit up and over the bridge. Then you've got this tricky double apex left-hander where the kart gets very light and sketchy towards the end of that corner, a right hand hairpin and then a long right hand corner to take you back over the start finish line. A few laps into my practice session I caught up to this guy in the pink suit and I was a bit quicker than him, but I just couldn't work out where the best overtaking opportunities were on this really tight technical circuit. So I just followed him for a couple of laps until he went for this move on the kart ahead of him. It compromised both of their exits out of this corner and I caught right up, and then he went deep into this long right hander which put him out of position, and I managed to get up the inside of both of them as we headed into the little kink before the bridge. Armed with a tiny little bit more knowledge than when I'd first entered the track a few minutes ago, we pulled back into the pit, didn't even get a chance to have a look at the lap times and got ready for qualifying. Alright, let's go. My plan in qualifying was pretty simple: let the faster drivers through and then hopefully they can drag me to a quicker time than one I'd set by myself. I pounded around this circuit for 20 minutes before the checkered flag finally came out and my poor shoulders and aching arms could take a rest. As we pulled into the pits I had no idea where I qualified, but hopefully it was towards the middle of the pack. Nope, no it wasn't. P11 out of 13. God, this is going to be a long race. The race had a rolling start, which was something pretty new for me. I've never done that at a karting track before. We lined up in single file and there'd be no overtaking until we saw the green flag. So following the 10 karts ahead, I wanted to keep the gap as tight as possible so that when it went green, we could go for some moves. There we go, we are off. After our little scuffle in practice, I knew I was quicker than this guy in the pink suit, so immediately I want to try and get past him. I send a move down the inside into this left-hand hairpin. He's still on our outside, which is going to turn into the inside for this long right-hander, but he gets tagged by someone, and we manage to get back through. We're up into P10. That felt like a critical move, that one. I knew I had to be aggressive at the start, but we're through, and now we've got a bit of clear track ahead. And let's see what we can do about closing up to these guys. They're all quick, but maybe we can close up and take advantage if any of them start fighting with each other. It's almost like I've seen this before, you know, because that's exactly what they're doing. Towards the end of the next lap, we've got a full-on 4-kart squabble ahead of us, and we are closing in rapidly. We're about to pick up a free position as we cross the start-finish line thanks to this poor fella who's had to pit for an issue. Bruh. And things up ahead are getting all sorts of spicy as we're about to head under the bridge. You can see there's 2 karts side by side up ahead. They're still side by side. They go really defensive into that hairpin, which checks up the 2 karts ahead of me, and I'm able to take advantage and get one. Can I get both of them? No, around the outside of this corner just isn't going to work. I managed to back out, but just about managed to close off the guy behind me. I've gained 1 position out of that. Just keep it tidy now. Let's sit in the pack for a little bit, regain our composure. It's a long old race this, and the last thing I want to do is go for a risky move and end up in a barrier somewhere. One thing I'm noticing is that I'm definitely a tiny little bit quicker than kart number 9. He gets a good exit out of this little kink and up and over the bridge. He pulls out a bit of a gap to me, but I do seem to be able to close him back down again. As the late great Murray Walker said though, catching is one thing, overtaking is another, and the driver of kart number 9 is placing his kart beautifully so that I just can't get alongside him into any of these braking zones. Here I was thinking for 2 seconds about sending it down his inside, but he's got me covered on the brakes. He actually brakes later than I do, but still manages to carry more speed through that corner. And as we head through the double apex left-hander, I close up to him and think about going down his inside, but I'm just not carrying enough speed to get alongside him. And the staff did mention in the briefing here before the race that any sort of risky late dive bombs where it was a bit over optimistic would be black flagged, and I really didn't want that to happen. So we're just erring on the side of caution here. Skipping ahead a decent chunk into the race, we're still right on the tail of kart number 9, but now he's caught the kart ahead of him and things are starting to get a little bit more tasty. One thing I haven't mentioned in all this is that kart number 14 has been on my tail the entire time. He's super close. You can see me there just checking over my shoulder to check whether I need to defend or not. And as we head up and over the bridge, kart number 9 just manages to find a tiny little bit of room on the inside of kart number 6 and he's through. I get a bit boxed in here. I'm stuck behind kart number 6 who was a bit slower out of that corner, and kart number 14 has just pounced on that and got through. That was a beautiful move and I completely messed up there. I give him a little nudge through the bridge as he was a little bit slower than I was, but I've been shuffled backwards. We're back down into P9. Let's rewind that and watch it in slow motion, see what I could have done better. Looking back at this, kart number 6 is on the right hand side on the inside. I should have just tucked in behind him. There is no way that you can make an overtake around the outside of that corner, but what I did was tried to go around the outside of him anyway, left the door all the way open, and number 14 just took full advantage. Lesson learned. I'm really enjoying the thought of battling with these guys though. All 4 of us seem to have really similar pace, and number 14 up ahead, look, he's looking behind, he's looking back to us, he's clearly a little bit nervous. As we go under the bridge, he runs a little bit wide, but then he just taps the brakes mid-corner and comes back towards the apex.
Mid-corner, mate.
I wasn't expecting that, and I gave him a little bit of a nudge through there. I'm not really sure whose fault that was, to be honest. I kind of feel like it was 50-50. It's an unusual place to brake, but then he was fully ahead. I wasn't alongside him at any point. Anyway, we both survived. No harm, no foul. Let's carry on. Let's see if we can engineer a move somewhere else. Unfortunately for me, at this point, my pace really started to drop off, and little by little, the guys ahead just started edging away lap after lap. I was really starting to feel it physically as well. I haven't driven karts that require this much physical effort in quite a long time, and my back and my shoulders were starting to ache a little bit. But anyway, we flash forward to lap 21, and the guys ahead are starting to tangle again, and this has brought us right back into the mix. Number 14 goes for a beautiful switchback on kart number 6, and he just about makes it work. There's just enough room there. He's through. Can we do anything to capitalise? Not quite yet, but on the very next lap, kart number 6 is fighting back with kart number 14, and he tries to go down the inside into that final hairpin. It doesn't work out, and now he's compromised his run all the way down into this bridge corner. We're going to think about sending it down his inside. He doesn't see us, and I think he just turns in. I give him a little tag, which sends him wide, and there's a blue flag. I've not come across one of them before. We'll deal with that in a second though. He's offline and we've got him a little bit flustered. He keeps checking behind, but he's cutting me off in all the right places to stop me getting past him. But then I'm going to have to obey that blue flag, which means the leaders are coming through to lap us and we need to get out of their way. Yeah, as I said, I've never come across blue flags in a go-karting race before, but it does add a new interesting strategic element to this race. My plan here, I'm going to get out of the way and let all these faster drivers through in one go, and then hopefully I can just stick myself to the back of their train for long enough to catch back up to kart number 6 and maybe, just maybe, sneak past him, similar to Max Verstappen in his rookie year at Monaco. If you know, you know. Anyway, what I didn't realise here was this kart number 5, that was actually for position. I just waved him through. I assumed he was lapping me, but he's the guy who pulled into the pits at the end of lap 3.
Bruh.
He is flying though, so to be fair, I don't think we'd have held him behind much longer anyway. Kart number 6 is just up ahead though. It's hard to know whether he's actually trying to defend from kart number 5 or not, because he is sort of, well, he's not waving him past anyway. As long as I can stick on the back of these two, maybe there'll be opportunities. Number 6 goes a bit deep into this right-hander, which puts him offline into the left-hand hairpin. The guy in the white helmet goes through, and I follow him straight through. I kind of think number 6 lifted there, and then just at the last minute realised that was actually for position. Either way, we're now up into P9. That worked out pretty well. The next guy up the road for me is kart number 14, and I think he's having the same issue. He's thought that kart number 5 is lapping him, so he's just kind of let him through there, but he has lost time doing it, and now I'm right on his bumper. He's looking behind, but I think he's spotted me. It's one of the issues of having a slightly distinctive helmet design, so I can't sneak past him. But we're way closer now. We've made up so much ground, and we're right back in this fight. Again though, like before, just because we've caught him doesn't mean it's going to be easy to pass him. I feel like there's certain parts of this circuit where I am quicker than him though. Through this left-right kink up and over the bridge, I've gained quite a lot on him through there. And then into the braking zone after this double left-hander, he brakes way earlier than I do. I actually got a bit checked up by that. I had to avoid him slightly because I brake far later than he does when I've got clear air. I've made a note of that, and I think I might be able to use it against him later if we can just get closer. He is quick though, and over the next few laps the gap between us ebbs and flows. Kart number 6, the guy in the green suit, also hasn't gone anywhere. He's been right on my tail for this entire section of the race, and I'm having to be super careful that I don't accidentally leave the door wide open and invite a move from him. Sometimes I'm even half defending into some of the corners just to put him off. And as we head under the bridge on lap 33, we're faced with our first yellow flag of this race. Now I'm super conscious that I need to manage this well because we had that issue with the yellow flags at the very start of this evening in practice where I didn't see them turn out, and I would have lost a heap of time had that been the race. You can see there's a marshal waving the yellow flag there, but immediately after him the light boxes aren't lit up. So we're back to green flag racing again. I think that was managed just about as well as it could have been. All the lights are out, yet we are definitely back to racing speed. Let's get after kart number 14. A couple of laps later, I think he's starting to feel the pressure. He's been looking back at me quite a bit, and he makes a mistake into this left-right kink. He goes really deep there, which compromises his run up and over the bridge. He's holding the inside, but I'm aware I've got much better overspeed, and I just managed to find the gap and throw it down the inside into that final hairpin. We are through. I managed to keep the kart nice and tight on the exit so that he wasn't able to do the over and under and get a switch back on me, and we've held that position. We're just going to run defensive into these next couple of corners to stop him sending it on me again, and deep breath. We've actually secured that position. We're back up into P8. Good stuff. I was pretty chuffed with myself about that. That felt like a good clean move. No contact. That's what we want. Jumping ahead a little bit, we've only got 10 laps left in this race. We're doing a little bit of our own lapping at this point. We get past that back marker really nicely, and then we are defending all the way through this first section of the track. I've just got to make sure that I put my car in the middle of the track, don't allow anyone any overlap, and we should be able to hold on. The past few laps I've been defending against the kart behind me like an absolute animal. You can see here side by side through that left-hander, and I just hold it on the inside, but he gets a much better exit, and then I realised that it wasn't actually the guy I was racing at all. He's lapping me. I do apologise, mate. Hold my hand up there.
Sorry, Tom.
Yep, my bad. Now that Tom's through, we're just going to try and stick behind him, see if we can get even quicker. Although I'm not sure we'll be quick enough to pull away from the karts behind. I wish I had a rear view camera at this point, because although my camera is quite a wide field of view, there you go, you can just about see that there's karts right on my tail this entire time, and so I'm having to just defend everywhere, stick my elbows out, try and make this kart the widest kart that has ever been on a TeamSport track. And defending here was no easy feat. I could not let up one bit. You can see here as we're going across the start finish line, there's a car on my inside there. He just backs out. I had the race in line, and the gap that he was driving into there was closing, so very, very sensibly he backed out, and I was able to take the race in line through the next corner and just keep my speed up. But man, these attacks were relentless. It was just every single acceleration zone. For these last few laps, I had to just have nerves of steel, because if I made one mistake, all three karts behind me would have pounced on me, and probably all three of them would have been through. But while this pressure might have taken years off my life, it did actually push me to set my fastest ever lap, a 33.993. I managed to get into the 33s. I was pretty happy with that. After the race, of course. In the race right now, I was way too stressed to care about my lap times. Flash forward onto the final lap, we are still in P8. We go through this left-hand hairpin, get a nudge from behind, which sends us a little wide, but it slowed the momentum of the kart behind me as well. I think that's kart number 6. He didn't quite manage to get alongside us, so we've managed to hold on just a couple more corners through this left-right kink. We're also catching kart number 9. We've been catching him steadily over the last few laps, but there's not enough time to do something about it. Keep it nice and clean through this final corner. Just check behind me. Nope, no one's alongside. And there is the checkered flag. We've done it. We've held on to P8 in this race. As we pulled back into the pits, even though my body was absolutely destroyed after hanging on for such a long time, I had blisters on the palm of my hand, like my shoulders were killing. I was absolutely buzzing with that result. We went over to kart number 6, gave him a little handshake there, acknowledgement of a great battle, and then we headed off upstairs to see what the results were. At this point, I didn't know I'd finished in P8, I just knew I'd finished a little higher than where I'd started. So imagine my shock when they're doing the podium presentations and this happens. Because the groups had actually been split up into weight categories, I'd somehow managed to snag P2 in my class, which felt awesome and definitely rounded out a great evening of racing at TeamSport Trafford Park. I had an absolute blast. I hope you guys have enjoyed the video. Thanks so much for watching. If you did enjoy it and you want to see more like this, please remember to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!